I would introduce our artist.
We're going to come right here.
Okay, I shall be here.
You're going to be here. There's a camera there so that you can talk
Okay.
to all these good people.
Okay, then I would introduce the artist first. Then you are next. Mr. Seto is the third. Then Gaby is going to come with Barbara after you two gentlemen.
Can Gaby come over here and stand next to me?
Gaby, you say whatever you want to. Is it okay I drop calling you Mr.? Because if so, I have to call her Miss and Mr. Otherwise, my Louisa, my feminine friends will have issues with me. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I am Sandra Cheng, and I am the director of University Community Exhibitions. And on behalf of Dominican University, I welcome your coming to this wonderful exhibition. This exhibition then is a celebration of Guatemala culture, as well as the vibrant photography of Barbara McVeigh. Barbara really did this project with passion. Barbara is also an award-winning documentary filmmaker, and she first became very interested in Guatemala culture more than 25 years ago when she took a backpack trip to Guatemala. And her interest is further enhanced when she did her ethnic studies as an undergraduate at San Francisco State. And of course, the graduate work she did at the Dominican further made her interested in Guatemalan culture. Barbara has been a long-time Marin County resident, and part of the Marin County fabric, of course, is the Guatemala community. And Gaby here then is a member of that community. So Gaby and Barbara then will tell us more about this project, about the Guatemala culture. But we have two other distinguished guests here. We have, I didn't study Spanish in college, excuse me, so we have our Guatemala Consul General, Luis Fernando Carranza Cifuentes.
Very good.
Gracias.
Long name.
Thank you. With more effort, I practice. Thank you. And Luis has served many diplomatic positions in Europe. Among them are Italy, Finland, Switzerland, Sweden, Spain, among other places. And he also then is a political science scholar, and he taught at the university in Guatemala. So let's welcome Luis. Share some of your insight with us, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sandra. And thank you to Barbara and to Gabriela for inviting me today to this event and to give me the opportunity to present myself. I've been in San Francisco just for 3 months now. I'm rather new, and I have to confess, this is my first time as Consul General, so this is a different type of work, and as Sandra was saying, my background is more into embassies and international organizations, but the challenge here for us in San Francisco and the Bay Area is to provide services and to connect with the Guatemalan diaspora. And San Rafael and the Marin County is where we have more Guatemalans. We believe that there are between 15 to 20,000 Guatemalans working and living in this county. This means that this is one of the best areas for the Consulate of Guatemala to carry out activities. And in fact, a couple of weeks ago, we have a mobile consulate. It was the first time after the pandemic that we had the chance to come to get to the community their services, passports, identifications, civil register, and so on. Now I want to take this opportunity to talk 2 minutes because, we are diplomats, we like to talk. This is something that we're not going to spend much time today, I promise you. But I just want to say that Guatemala is a very diverse country. is what we call a pluricultural country. Many languages, many ethnic groups, and is different than when you see 23 different languages that are spoken in the country in a small piece of land. And this diversity makes it very, challenging and difficult to govern a country like Guatemala. But the people that have decided to come to the United States for various reasons, for economic reasons, for violence, for whatever, they are the best of our country. These people are coming here to work. They contribute to your society. They contribute to your economy, and they are also members of the society, you want it or not. So the recognition of this contribution is also one of the things that I would like to showcase during my years here in San Francisco, just to show how can we strengthen this relationship between Guatemala and Marin County, Guatemala and California. There are so many small entrepreneurs, many people who decided to have their small businesses. My idea is just how to organize them, make them thrive more and get more businesses, not only for the California area, but also with Guatemala. So we are here to stay, and we will be more connected with Marin County. And thank you, Sandra and Barbara and Gabriela, for giving me the chance to be here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luis, for your insightful comments. Our next speaker then is John Ceton. John is a well-known figure in the art world. He has years of experience in public art and in museum areas. And he was the former administrator of California Art Council. And of course, John is very aware of the contribution of multiculturalism. So, John, would you be so kind to share some of your thoughts?
Surely, thank you. My name is John Ceto, and I really didn't know what I was going to talk about today, not being really that familiar with Guatemala. I'm here to learn about Guatemalan art and its culture. I do remember meeting a classmate in the 4th grade when I came to America, not knowing my ABC, and seeing a brown person and naturally assumed he was Mexican. And he said he was Guatemalan. I had no idea what that was because I barely, spoke English at that time. Multiculturalism is a very complicated issue, I think, in that it should be perhaps approached with the empathy to want to understand and learn. Often, I think, especially perhaps today in America, we are going through cultural wars. Somebody mentioned ethnic studies. I think many of you are also baby boomers. In the late 60s and 70s, San Francisco was where ethnic study started, and there was all these different movements, free speech at Berkeley, anti-Vietnam War women's movement. There was a real raise in consciousness and soul-searching. And I came from that background, and I was born in China, of course. Since then, I've also lived in Taiwan, England, and so forth, and I was very happy when I landed the job. I was a museum curator, director. I didn't find a fitting there, even though I have a degree in art and archaeology of China. But I moved to Ohio and became coordinator of traditional and ethnic arts, and that's when I was exposed to all the universal people. And of course, in Ohio, you expected a lot of Eastern Europeans, so a lot of, but when I came to get back to California, I retired 16 years state service, and this is your tax money at work. We funded the underserved people, which primarily consists of people of color. We funded the operas and orchestras and museums, but we made them or encouraged them to give exposure to the underserved. So I want to know that's where my heart was, and that's where it still is. But I think today I particularly want to maybe pay tribute to the women of the world. Last week was National Day for the Women. Gaby, her life story she will talk about. Her life reminded me of my mother's life. I was born in 1949 when China became two separate countries. And she had to leave 4 children and her husband to come to America alone, while my father ended up later on in internment camp because he fought on the nationalist side. That's just a life story. But if we look at what's going on in Ukraine today, how is that different? Or maybe in Guatemala in the past? People don't leave their country of origin unless there's a compelling reason. Today may be different. Yeah, you're a foreign student, you go study, but if you have to immigrate, it's usually there are problems at home and you have to escape. And so my heart really falls for, sure, the men are fighting the wars or whatever they do. They go to become Chinese, become coolie laborers. They had to leave their families at home. The Ukrainians are going through that kind of thing. So I just wanted to say we should concentrate on the art and culture and nourishment, learning instead of, doing the otherly, going through cultural wars, burning, censoring books, whatever. So this is all I wanted to say.
Thank you for your thoughtful comments. So last but not least, Barbara and Gaby would tell us more about the project, please.
All right. Okay, well, they spoke so well. I had to write things down. I only have 10 pages, so don't worry. This has been a long project, but if you don't mind, I'm going to read a bit because I feel it's really important to get the story right. And I am a writer, so it's how I communicate better, and I want to do this project in service to doing what's right. But I wanted to start with saying that this is a modest project. It was a 4-year project, but its roots really actually began in 1992. When I was a 22-year-old adventure-seeking backpacker curious about the world, especially about Guatemala, a place I knew literally nothing about. I was journeying down the Usumacinto River by canoe. I was an adventurer with 4 other travelers, and we were deep in the southern Mexico region, preparing to cross into the Ceton region of Guatemala, which is essentially was, or probably still is, a pure jungle known for its beautiful temples and animals. I was essentially in the middle of nowhere, aside from the military base serving as the border control. And after being questioned, short of being interrogated, I felt, I returned to the canoe to complete the journey, when a young army man, who was not much more than a boy, handed me a gift. And it was a baby bird. I didn't know what to do with this baby bird as we launched back down the river. It was in that moment that the rain began to pour, and heat lightning was flashing across the sky, and it was just this incredible moment holding this vulnerable bird in this moment of a tempest in a canoe going down a river. I decided to release that bird in the moment, given I had no real means to care for it, and I gave a prayer for peace and kindness in the world. And it flew off into the trees, and not to be seen again. Well, I'd like to remind us, and if you don't know, that the Quetzal is the Guatemalan bird, the national bird. It's a bird of peace. And this project is based on a village in Quetzaltenango, the city of the Quetzal.
Yes.
And who would guess that I was willing to make a dangerous voyage into Guatemala post-Civil War era, and Gaby would be making a dangerous journey into the United States. And here we are together with a message for peace and kindness.
Yes.
So again, this exhibit is modest. It's merely planting the seed to help grow one story of a local family, a story of many, to reshape our collective narrative here in Marin County. I first met Gaby when she arrived in my home here in Greenbrae. It was about 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20.
Her aunt had been cleaning our homes at time, and I respected her aunt greatly. Her aunt had even taught me how to nurse my own baby when I was a first-time mother. When I met Gaby, she looked like a young child. She was all but 17 years old, and later a friendship grew, and I found myself at some amazing Guatemalan parties in the best tamales in the world and other local events, getting to know this amazing local community. And I also got to watch Gaby's resilience as she built herself up into a young businesswoman, all the while helping others while she had so much against her, including language barriers and education.
Yes.
And she was separated from many she cared about deeply back home,
Yep.
unable to see even her own mother for 20 years. So, following the border violence in 2018, I took a trip back to Guatemala. I was just called. I just literally got on, Travelocity, and booked my ticket in a moment, without even thinking through it, to meet her family, and also the family of Claudia Patricia Gomez Gonzalez, who was murdered, killed at the border.
Yeah.
She was a 20-year-old Mayan indigenous woman. It was right at that time. And I lived with Gaby's family, making tortillas and tamales, milking the cow, and really listening to their dreams and the way they view San Rafael. San Rafael is Paris to the people of Quetzaltenango. The way they talk about San Rafael, it's beautiful, and it was an amazing community, and it's so filled with Guatemalan people and the culture. Strong families, a bold landscape, active volcanoes, forest, and again, the best tamales in the world, and people who are so generous. We really have opportunity to build bridges with our Latin American friends south of the border, bridges that connect us with education, art, literature, and even agriculture, getting back to the roots of who we are. And Quetzaltenango is one of the most beautiful areas of Guatemala. I think California should really push to be the first state to cultivate robust educational exchange programs based on weaving and stitching and a lot of the crafts that are vital to their economy, their culture, but also what we appreciate as beautiful. And it's time to give respect and honor to those who labor and raise our children in this community, tending to homes, providing such a nurturing, hard work ethic that has helped Marin community thrive. The Guatemalan community has been a gift to this county, and we really have opportunity to reciprocate now. Our future direction really relies on the dreamers, right? The artists, the educators, and those of us who want to build and create. Let's stop pointing the fingers at politicians and other people. Let's look at ourselves as the creators. We are the ones who manifest our future. And really the human spirit, in my opinion, shows its power when we tell each other stories of those who inspire us. And Gaby inspires me. She shows resilience and courage and love. And that was the intention of this project. And I hope you all have the opportunity to experience the beauty of Guatemala like I got to experience. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you to Dr. Sandra Chin, Consul General, and John Seto. Thank you. And Gaby Mazariegos. And I did want to really mention that Gaby, one of her dreams was to go to university, which you haven't had a chance to, but I want to remind you that you are now featured in one of the top universities.
Thank you.
Can I say in the country? Could I say that? So you made it, Gaby.
Thank you. Nice, Gaby.
I made it.
Right?
Well, thank you everyone for coming, and speakers, thank you, and thank you for inspiring this wonderful photographer. Your artwork is dazzling. Thanks for sharing with us.
And Gaby, I think, would like to say a few words too.
Yes,
Yeah.
Gaby, please say a few words.
Okay. So, first, thank you so much for staying here with us today, and I would love to say hi to everybody in my country, and I'm so happy to have you are a consular and here. It's very grateful. I'm so great that I have support from you in our story. So it's very important for us, and like I say, one of the things that's very important for me is to continue to help my community, my school, my family, friends, that they are all here working, and I really wish to have them better lives in here and even in my country. So that's the best. That's the way I am here today, and I'm not ashamed to share my story and tell all of these women to they can do it, and if I did it, they can do it too. So if we women can be alone, so we can make it. So and I'm so grateful to men that they support a lot of our dream in Guatemala. When we traveling in Guatemala, we like to say thank you to them too. Even they will hear the video one day, but they really taking care a lot. Our Barbara and I in Guatemala and are celebrating all this dream come true together for years. So I just really what I really want to come happens in Marin County and Guatemala is to come to be more love, more peace, and that's my priority.
Thank you, Gaby. These remarks are so touching. They are really from your heart and
Thank you.
passionate. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
with us.
Thank you to all of you for coming too. Really, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any
Are there any
questions?
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 There are tons of goodies. Please help yourself.
Mr. Consulate, would you tell us how the economy of your country is doing?
Well, the economy of Guatemala is resilient, and I will tell you why. Because during the pandemic, when most Latin American countries were suffering a step decline in their economic activities of minus 5% of GDP growth and so on, Guatemala was affected less, let's say like minus 1.5 of its GDP was affected. So, and in 2021 we have an exponential growth of more than 6% in the economy. So we bounced back immediately. Perhaps the explanation is that Guatemala is based in agricultural activities. Its economy is based on agricultural activities. So we are more or less like where we provide all this produce to Central America, good produce, good vegetables, good fruits to the whole of Central America and the south of Mexico, even to the United States. So during the pandemic, worst days, the people in the field, they continue working. So the economy, that's why it suffered less in terms of if you compare this to other countries like Mexico, where we're more industrialized, or countries in South America. So now the economy is growing, it's doing well. So the economic forecast for next year will be also around 6%, which is a rather good economic growth. But we all know that economic growth is not the recipe for development. So we need just to see how can we make a more integral and comprehensive development program to reduce poverty. Poverty is the number one cause for migration in Guatemala now. We call it forced migration. People do not migrate because they want. They are forced, as you, John has said. It's because there are certain conditions that people are not prepared to face, or because of the situation is worse. So this forced migration has been increasingly going up in the past years. So that's why we have so many Guatemalans in the Bay Area now. And perhaps what we need to do is just to address the root causes of migration. And the root causes of migration, as I say, is poverty. But what is causing poverty now in Guatemala? Climate change is causing a lot of poverty in Guatemala. We have many droughts and floodings. Those droughts are more often and more extended in time. Floodings are happening quite a lot now during the hurricane season. So the crops suffer a lot. So we need to make crops more resilient so people that are working in the field can have their livelihoods more or less guaranteed. So even though those external shocks are affecting the country, we have an economy that is actually going up and up and up. So.
That's great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes.
Do we have any
here.
questions?
So when you have the exhibition?
Yeah, please enjoy the snacks.
Exhibition. Oh, the photography. The photography.
I have to go and see. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Michael Gallant.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Sandra. But that's okay.
It's okay, yeah.
It's okay.
Can you take me a picture? Oh, yeah, they already left. Can you take me a picture with her? Where is it?
So you give me the flower. I want to make you my bag. Thank you. You know, you guys been working so hard. There are refreshments. Gives you some extra energy. My God, sorry. Oh yes, yeah. Focus the second floor. Yes, and the restroom.
It's more like cultural. Barbara is asking about an ethnic festival that's going to happen in Japan, and I want to know about it.
This time everyone has some energy.